We're back, everybody, on Santa Cruz hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS, the Gazette Radio Hour, with Doug and John. John, I got something to cheer you up.
What?
Sports, baby.
Oh, great. My hockey team lost in Game 7.
You're encouraging.
I got nothing. We got Dave Unger, the Talk Sports. Dave
Dave Unger?
The Dave Unger. Dave Unger's famous, right, Dave?
I'm extremely famous.
Extremely famous.
At least in my own mind.
There you go.
And his own podcast.
But is this true, John? Speaking of hockey, I know nothing about hockey. This is like only the third time that both conferences have gone to a seventh game. Are you aware of that?
You probably know more about hockey than I do now. Dave, who do you like tonight?
First time since, what, 2002?
2002, yeah.
Yeah, it is. My kid told me that.
Tonight is Tampa Bay Lightning and your New York Rangers. And they're your New York Rangers because they beat the Capitals.
Maybe you can enlighten me. Is it home ice advantage an advantage as in other sports as much? Or?
Oh, Dave, you want to take that one?
In hockey, not so much, except for possibly tonight, because the Rangers have never lost a Game 7 at home, which, of course, probably spells the end of the season for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get too many goals past their goalie. Their goalie is Henrik Lundqvist, who I still have nightmares about. Thank you very much as a Capitals fan.
Yeah.
It's just not fair.
Okay, but the big game around these parts is
the Blackhawks and the Ducks. Now, here's an interesting question for you, David. I think the Blackhawks are a dynasty. You win 3 cups in 5 years. That's pretty much a dynasty in sports, don't you think?
In this modern free agency era, I would say you could make a strong argument that it's a dynasty. But you could say the same thing about the Kings, I guess.
Yeah, except missing the playoffs. To me, maybe it's the end of their dynasty. But then I would say, a dynasty, especially in the NHL nowadays. It's hard to sit there and go, oh my God, these are the Ducks beating the Blackhawks. And when you say it out loud, it doesn't make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith, and I hate to say that because I know there's a lot of people who are listening who are Ducks fans, but yeah, just the Blackhawks, they're similar to the Rangers. They just don't generally lose these types of situations. And teams like the Ducks and the Lightning typically come up a little bit short in this sort of scenario.
To me, it's all defense, and I think Lundqvist for the Rangers is playing much better than his counterpart. And man, you look at the defensemen for the Blackhawks. It's hard to get. It's hard to beat it. It's hard to bet against them. I think you're right.
Let me ask you this kind of off-the-wall question. Do you think NBC, sports, is rooting for a Chicago-New York final or a New York-LA final?
They probably can't go wrong either way. I'm sure they're just hoping that Tampa Bay is not the East Coast representative.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I mean, do you guys really think that sports networks root for this stuff?
Yes, for their ad dollars.
You think so?
Betcha.
Oh yeah.
I always thought that was a little conspiracy.
Because they used to love Yankee Dodgers World Series for that reason.
Right. But then how come some of the best World Series or best playoffs in basketball exactly? Yeah. I mean, Boston, LA is not. Boston's not a hot media market,
right?
And you're not getting a lot of Knicks fans from New York watching the Celtics.
But like for instance, the NBA Finals. I mean, I don't think that anybody in the TV executive room was salivating over the Oakland-Cleveland matchup.
Right. Well, yeah, okay. The alternative would have been Houston-Atlanta. That's even worse.
Even worse.
But
just the way the NBA playoffs worked out, they're like, this is awful.
Yeah. But LeBron James has a poll, and I think Golden State, but not for mass watching numbers. Their viewership isn't going to be. All
right, so let's go back. Let's go back to hockey. Who are you picking tonight? You got the Rangers. You got the Blackhawks.
I got
who's winning the
Rangers,
cup?
Blackhawks.
Who's winning the cup?
I think this might be the Rangers' year. I think that home ice advantage, which it usually isn't a big deal, but the Rangers seem to just relish in this concept of getting their backs against the wall, like they did against the Capitals, like they've done here. And, I mean, it takes a superhuman effort to put those guys down for the count. And I don't see the Lightning doing it, and I'm not sure the Blackhawks can either.
Will the Rangers have home ice advantage if they're in the finals?
Yes.
They won the
They're the President's Trophy winners. And
what is that, the best regular season record?
Would have to go there.
That's the most points in the regular season. But what about the curse of the President's Trophy?
Right? Well, I mean, John and I, who are Capitals fans, know all too well that usually that comes to pass much earlier than the Stanley Cup Finals. I think if you've gotten to the Stanley Cup Finals, you can throw that President's Curse thing right out the window.
Yeah, it's depressing to think that Lundqvist, I mean, he robbed the Capitals of one game, about 90 seconds. And it was my fault because I texted Dave and I said, hey, looks like we might win this series. Woohoo! And about 4 minutes and 30 seconds later, they scored and the game was over.
That'll
we
teach
lost
you.
in overtime, and yeah, it's my fault.
Okay, what about tomorrow night? Game 7, Ducks in Chicago.
Chicago.
Oh, I'd love to say that the Ducks are going to win this thing, but I just, I don't see it happening.
Can they win? I mean, do the Ducks really? I mean, you guys were saying earlier, it's L.A. I don't think the Ducks are L.A.
No, they're not. But can the Ducks win? Absolutely. I think they have shown that. The way that they won Game 5 after blowing that lead and going into overtime, especially the way the series has gone with the triple overtime loss and the double overtime loss. So the Ducks showed a lot of heart, and I think they've got that going for them. Whether that's enough to beat a veteran team like the Blackhawks and that kind of a pressure cooker,
it's almost like the movie, The Mighty Ducks. And it's sort of kind of is if you think about it.
What's the actor, the coach in the movie?
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, he was at the last game tweeting.
It doesn't surprise me. But it's almost like that because you've got a small group of unknown players overachieving, playing really well as a team, and you've got the big, mean, nasty Blackhawks coming to town. And I'm not sure how much of a home ice advantage it's going to be. They're going to have to. Probably not much. They're really going to have to outsmart them and out-team them, and I'm not sure they can do that. But hey, Dave, hang on. We're going to take a little break, all right?
Sure thing.
All right, we'll have Dave Unger on to talk sports after the break. You listen to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS. Santa Clarita's hometown station. We'll be right back.
We are back, folks, on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. We're on every Friday at 2 o'clock. And our special guest, a friend of the show, Mr. Dave Unger. Dave, I understand that you have ventured into podcast land. Is that true?
That is quite true.
Tell us about it.
Well, I run a professional wrestling podcast called The Attitude of Aggression, and we put our episodes out about once or twice a week, usually after big events such as Monday Night Raw. And I've got a co-host by the name of Gates Nieblis. He's on there with me, and it's doing pretty well. It's starting to pick up momentum. Lots of Twitter followers all over the place, and it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit more explicit than what we're doing here today. But,
yeah, I'm sure.
We just kind of mess around, and but it's informative, and for the pro wrestling fans out there, I think they enjoy some of the stuff we do. There's a lot of information and a lot of buffoonery at the same time, so it's great.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Attitude of Aggression, right?
Yeah, Attitude of Aggression. It's available on iTunes or on Stitcher Radio, or the website is attitudeofaggression.com. You can stream the podcast episodes right off of there. So, yeah, if you're a pro wrestling fan, tune in.
I'm doing that next time I drive to Bakersfield. All right, so let's talk basketball.
Okay, yeah, there we go. I'm more of a hockey fan, but, this NBA Finals has the potential to be really, really good.
I think so, because you've got I was listening to another radio show in the morning, and they were talking about who would you rather have in their prime, Jordan or LeBron James.
Wow.
And you're not going to believe this. It was Bill Laimbeer said LeBron James.
Did he?
Bill Laimbeer? Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
That Laimbeer would say LeBron James. I mean,
yeah, I know, but still. Are we looking at the best basketball player ever in LeBron James?
No. I don't think so. I mean, LeBron could not take over a game like Michael Jordan could, and
he's come pretty close. And look at the lineup that who he had. Who else is on that team? He's taking him to the finals.
Exactly. He can't. What they make the playoffs last year? Cleveland?
No.
Without him,
he comes in and they're in the finals.
And Kevin Love's hurt.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving's not playing that much. Wow. And then you've got probably one of the best shooters in the game ever, in Curry.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be fun.
I would still put Michael ahead of LeBron, but I came from an era growing up, and John. Well, you guys all did, and we just watched Jordan just absolutely annihilate people.
Yep.
And LeBron is he's shed that label of being a choker, and everything he touches turns to gold. And we'll see, though. Golden State, I think, is the deeper of the two teams, at least with Love injured and Kyrie kind of hobbling.
Yeah.
We'll see just how far LeBron can really carry these guys.
Well, didn't somebody in Golden State have a concussion? He got nailed.
Yeah, Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson.
He had a concussion.
Yeah, so why the week off? Ugh.
Yeah, by the time, and you talk about hurting TV ratings. By the time we get to next Thursday, that's a week from last night. This is the first game. You can't tell me they couldn't move some of those up at least to maybe Tuesday?
I'm going to stop caring. Not that I care that much.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They were probably expecting the conference finals to go longer than 5 games each.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
4 games in 5 games.
They probably kind of
But
schedule.
Seems like they could have some flexibility, but who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Baseball?
Oh, well, I'm a Nationals fan, so I'm loving life right now. And
What, are you guys from the same hometown or something?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Well, John doesn't like the Nationals.
I don't like the
that's right.
Nationals. I grew up in Baltimore, but we could talk preseason NCAA basketball. You know who's ranked number 1? Anybody want to guess? Yeah, the Nationals have woken up.
Yeah. And Bryce Harper's having a phenomenal season.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting. Another one. You look at his numbers, and if you project them out, I heard a stat the other day. If you project out his numbers, there's been only one other player in all of baseball history who would have the same projected numbers, and that's Babe Ruth. I'm like, oh my God, don't you think we're getting a little crazy already? So far, we've compared.
The guy is swinging the bat like he's got Thor's hammer out there, and it's just you don't want to throw anything remotely close. I mean, Lester, when he hit off Lester the other day, that was a great pitch, and Harper just drilled it, and it's like, wow.
I just
what
don't
are you
think.
Gonna do?
I don't think the Dodgers can play with him. I really don't. And I don't know whether
the Nationals pitching staff catches up to the way they're hitting, which is the exact opposite of the way I thought it was going to be. They're going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah.
And Strasburg's struggling, and but Scherzer's just lights out. So
yeah.
I don't know. That and the Astros, they're the big mystery. I mean, how long can these guys keep this going?
Yeah, that's true.
They're the feel-good story of the year.
Speaking of the Dodgers, interesting article this morning in the LA Times on Yasiel Puig about how well the Dodgers are doing without him, and how the clubhouse has come together without him being around. And when he comes back, they're saying maybe the front office might think about moving him on.
Wow. I mean, was he hitting that?
No.
I mean, he's nothing spectacular anymore.
Yeah.
He was good for like a month.
Is he too much of a distraction for that clubhouse?
Exactly. That was the point.
Well, I wonder if clubhouses kind of do that when you have to come together and overcome adversity.
Well,
the adversity
so
comes
much
back.
in any team sport is chemistry based, and they've got good chemistry without him. You disturb that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that's
think
why it's so hard to buy a title. You just wipe out that chemistry by doing that.
All right, so you're down for the Nationals. Who do you got in the American League?
The American League, the American League East is a joke. Sorry, John.
Yeah, I know. It's early.
Nobody there stands out. The Royals and Tigers look good. The Astros, I don't know if they.
There's no way they can keep it up.
I think this, if Detroit gets some better pitching in place, they could do it. But there's teams that are Minnesota's come out of nowhere and surprised a bunch of people.
Right.
Yeah.
And right now I'd probably say Detroit, but it's still really early in the season, and I need to see more from the Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
But the Cardinals are going to be tough. Really tough.
Great story. Stars are going back to D.C. and Detroit. Oh, that'd be a great World Series. All right, Dave Unger, thank you so much. Attitude of Aggression podcast, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, man.
Much.
We'll talk to you next week, maybe, or sometime down the road. Who knows?
Thanks, Dave.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for Santa Clarita again. Doug and John Show, AM-1220 KHTS. We're out.